As we get closer and closer to opening the mercantile, I've been spending more time there. I've got to go in today and get a bunch of stuff done, so I'm going to take lunch with me. That way I won't have to stop and go get a burger. I'm making a salmon and veggie grain bowl. Really great flavor, light and delicious. I'm going to get the salmon cooking now. I've just got a little oil in a skillet. While the salmon keeps cooking, I'm going to drain the grain. I'm using farro, which is such a delicious, nutty grain. I don't use it very often, but it's perfect for a bowl like this with veggies and salmon. It has a really great texture. It's a little bit chewy. Now I want to rinse it to stop the cooking process. This is going to be a cold salad, so I want to stop it in its tracks, and that way the texture is just perfect. Okay, I'm gonna check the salmon. I think it's time to turn. I'm gonna make a super simple dressing for the veggie grain bowl. I'll start with a little olive oil. I've got a lemon and I'll zest a little bit of it. And then I'll cut the lemon in half and squeeze in half the juice. Now I had a shallot in my fridge, so I'm gonna use it. Okay, sprinkle in some salt and pepper. This is a very shalloty dressing. Now, I'll take the other half of the lemon and squeeze it right over this sizzly salmon. I always like to have a little bit of citrus when I cook salmon. It's a perfect flavor combination. Now, I've got some veggies for the veggie grain bowl. And this is one of those things where you just kind of open your veggie drawer and see what you have and use what you want. I've got some radishes, which I thought would be really lovely. And I'm just slicing some sugar snap peas. I've also got an avocado. Now for the salmon, I just need to break it up into chunks. Look how luscious and tender that is. I'll grab some of the farro. Now I've got to lay all of this wonderfulness on top, starting with the salmon. The sugar snap peas, nice and crunchy. The sliced radishes. And I'll take the avocado slices, put them around the edge. How delightful is this? The last thing is the dressing. I've got some fresh dill. Look at this bowl of beauty. Love it. Now I've got to get to town and get to work.
What I call my What Would Katie Eat Pitaya smoothie bowl. I think I'm making Katie proud with this one. All right, so to make it, I just imagine what Katie Lee would do. Let's get started. Now, first, we're talking about pitaya. Look at this beautiful pitaya. I love it. It's kind of got the texture of, I guess you could say kiwi. Those little tiny black seeds in there have that kind of same sensation. They pop in your mouth. Also, pitaya is known as dragon fruit. It comes from cactus plants. It's indigenous to Central and South America. Mild, sweet, earthy, give it a try. All right, so the first thing I wanna do to make my bowl is work on the toppings because the pitaya is in the freezer right now and I don't want it to become too much room temperature before I get all the toppings onto it. The two toppings I like to add if I usually go to like a bowl place is granola and toasted coconut. So I'm just gonna get my two pans here, dry pans. You don't need any fat or anything like that going on a medium-high heat. So just shake about a half of a cup of your granola on there, any kind of your favorite granola. I like to pick a granola that's got pecans in it or pecans because I just love the nutty crunch. And this is sweetened coconut, same amount of each, a half a cup each. And then I'm just gonna toss them. Now, usually, with the toasted coconut, I'll just get in there with a wooden spoon and kind of stir it instead of tossing because it's gonna start to stick just a little bit, all those sugars in there because it's sweetened. All right, so I'm toasting my granola because granola sits on the shelf just like anything else, like your spices. And granola is all about the spice. You're usually gonna find some warm spices in there like cinnamons and nutmegs. And so it's really, really smart when you get it home right before you go to use it, just throw a little toss on it, a little bit of heat, and it really I mean, it smells more like granola. So you're not looking for a color. It's already been toasted for you. Just gonna get that right off the heat, turn it off, and now take a look at our toasting coconut here. A lot of times, if you go to a Pitaya place, they have like what I call the fancy coconut. It's not sweetened, bigger flakes. I like that as well, but this is so much easier to get right in the baking aisle next to all the nuts and everything. All right, so now see how this is getting nice and toasty? I'm gonna take it off the heat before it's done because the pan is still hot. It's a good time to just move things around and let the residual heat of the pan do all of the work. And I'm just gonna actually divide and conquer. Since this pan is slightly cooled down more, I'm just gonna get that in there. Now listen, if you're at home and you're like, excuse me, 2 pans, an embarrassment of riches and dishes. You could just do 1 pan and then just like shuffle the granola into a bowl, wipe it out, and then do your toasted coconut afterwards. Okay, so now I've got these 2 things ready. My toppings. We can start working with the pitaya. So it's usually, like I said, in your freezer section, and it comes in little pouches. Sometimes you'll find like a family pack that has like 8 or 10 of these pouches, and there are a lot of ways they suggest for you to get it to like a little bit less of frozen, but not room temperature, because if you've had a pitaya bowl, you know, you kind of like it chilled a little bit. So one of the suggestions is to run it over kind of cold water. You can also defrost it in your refrigerator, or just use the warmth from your hands and just kind of massage it with your fingertips. You know, like I'm doing right here. Just a little massage therapy. And as it starts to squish a little bit more, feels good. So I'm gonna squeeze this one right into the blender. Get the other one in there. Look how beautiful and vibrant that color is. I'm telling you, if you got your nails done and you want an outfit to match, get your drink, your outfit, and your pitaya all in one. Pink beautification. All right, so this is a nut butter. I'm using maple flavored almond butter. It's about a 1/2 cup right here. And then to smooth it out a bit, just gonna add in a 1/4 cup of sweetened vanilla almond milk. And remember, use a liquid measure. A friend of mine was asking me once when we were grocery shopping, like, hey, should I get vanilla? Because, you know, I really want that vanilla flavor. I was like, yeah, but if you don't add any sweetener to that, it's just, vanilla is just kind of like a scent, if you ask me. Gotta get the sweetened so you have all that good love in there. All right, so I'm just gonna blitz it. All right, also another tip, when you're making this, a blender does create heat, so the faster you blend this, the better you're gonna have as far as your temperature. Just pour that right into the bowl. Look at how beautiful that is. I'm talking color galore. So, I've got the pitaya that's got my nut butter in it, a little bit of almond milk to smooth it out. I've got my banana. I usually just cut it right into the bowl. It's kind of like, well, actually, you know what? I'd love to, let me give a little bit of a platform so the bananas don't sink too much. And put a little bit of this yummy, I like to make a mess. That's the best thing about being on the kitchen. Someone comes and cleans up. I heard a couple chuckles back there. All right, and then just come down the middle here. And then just hit it with the bananas. Don't cover it too much. A little bit of the banana, and then I come in with something healthy. Again, this harkens right back to my girl, Katie Lee. What would Katie eat? She's always telling us that chia seeds are super, super good. They've got all kind of those fun omega situations going on. So a little sprinkle over the top. And there you have it. It doesn't get any easier than this. All right, so I wanna give a taste. Take myself back to Cali in my first pitaya bowl. Get a little bit of everything. Some banana, some toasted coconut, and that vibrant pitaya. I mean, come on. So simple. It's healthy as well. and I'd eat that entire bowl and tear it up. Hey, I hope you enjoyed my pitaya smoothie bowl at home, and make some for your friends.
Grilled chicken and veggie wrap. In this bowl, I've added some balsamic vinegar, some olive oil, a little honey, some Dijon, a little dried basil, and now I'm adding some salt and pepper. And I have 2 boneless, skinless chicken breasts that I'm gonna marinate. Whisk it up. I'm gonna add my chicken. All right, so I'm just gonna let my chicken sit in the marinade for about 30 minutes, room temp. And while it's marinating, I'm gonna cut up some veggies, grill it up, and then assemble my wrap. So I'm gonna let this chill out on my back counter while I grab my veggies. Red pepper, yellow pepper, red onion, and Chinese eggplant. A Chinese eggplant has less seeds than your traditional eggplant, so it's a little less bitter. I'm gonna slice my red onion, my yellow pepper, and my red pepper. I'm just gonna salt my veggies. I'm gonna add some cracked black pepper. While that sits there, I'm gonna make my goat cheese spread. It's like a whipped herby spread with goat cheese. It has a little tang. So I'm gonna mince 1 clove of garlic in my food processor. Okay. Now I'm going to add my goat cheese. Some chives, gonna add a mild oniony flavor. Some parsley. Just gonna add some more herbiness to this goat cheese spread. A little salt. Gonna add some lemon juice, about half of this lemon. And a little olive oil to help loosen it up. I'm gonna let the food processor do the rest. All right, let me make sure it's good. Creamy, a little tangy, and full of fresh herbs. That's exactly what I wanted. All right, it's time to grill my veggies. First, I'm gonna hit the grill that is very hot with some oil. I'm gonna put my eggplant down first. I'm gonna put a little bit of my peppers and onions back here. So it's gonna be about 3 to 4 minutes on both sides for the eggplants. For the onions and peppers, I want them to be super soft and charred. This is exactly how I want the eggplant to look. It's softened up and it has those beautiful char marks on it. Take these off, and then once this is done, I'm gonna add my chicken and cook it right here on the same grill. Peppers and onions are done. Now I'm gonna add my marinated chicken. Oh yeah. I'm gonna grill this for about 3 to 4 minutes. It depends on how thick your chicken breast is, but 3 to 4 minutes on each side or until the internal temperature reaches 165. That's the safe zone for chicken. All right, my grilled chicken is done. So I have my spinach wraps. So I have 2 wraps here. Take that herby goat cheese spread. I'm gonna slice my chicken now. I'm gonna add some of my eggplant, add my grilled peppers and onions, fold the sides, tuck it in, and slice. That's a juicy wrap.
Okay, so now that we have the cracked wheat has soaked in the water and it's really kind of blossomed, give it a taste. Tastes like cracked wheat, but it's a great canvas for really big flavors. So we're gonna pour the cracked wheat in there, and we're gonna dress it with a dressing and then some vegetables. I'm gonna start with some lime juice. Some of this, this smells really cool. Very earthy. Some of this buckwheat honey that I picked up. And some serrano chilies. Some fresh green chilies. Give that a buzz. Add some canola oil. And some salt and pepper. Okay, that's gonna be the dressing. Now for some other things to go into the cracked wheat salad, we're going to slice up some green onions, some scallions. fresh mint. And some Italian parsley. Chop all those greens up. Dice up a couple tomatoes. And then little red onion. Okay, everybody in the pool. Salt and pepper. And our dressing. Healthy and tasty. Okay, so now we're gonna plate this.
Shaved kale and root vegetable salad. It's fresh and crunchy with quinoa and a red wine vinaigrette. You got the garlic going. We're gonna make a dressing here in a second. Let's talk about quinoa. Are you a quinoa fan?
I love quinoa. Because of what we do, like in my leisure, I want to eat really well, really healthy, so quinoa is that.
He wants to eat really well and really healthy, so when he comes to visit me in California and we make pizzas till 2 in the morning.
Right? Hey, shout red!
Yeah. Okay, now here's the thing with the quinoa. There's a big question that goes on. Rinse it or don't rinse it. Now, when I grow it out in the garden, I rinse it. A lot of times when I buy it, I won't rinse it. Some brands I want to rinse, some I don't.
Right.
So are you a rinse guy or non-rinse guy?
You know what? It depends on if I'm making it for my son, we like to rinse, but if it's just like adults at the house, we don't rinse.
Okay, I'm not rinsing them.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm
so
gonna
we're gonna go
grab
about a cup of quinoa. Salt's right there. All right, let me get a little stock down. I've toasted up the quinoa. Now we'll go down with about 3 cups of veg stock. Let this come to a simmer. There we go. Okay. Veg
Now, you know
stock.
what? Question for you.
Hang on, wait 1 second. Let me just make sure I'm caught up where I'm at. Veg stock, salt, that's good. Let me give this a little stir. Bring it to a simmer. 15 minutes, turn it off. I'll be in good shape. G, how we looking?
Doing good. I'm
Okay.
gonna mince up this shallot real quick.
So a little garlic, about a tablespoon of garlic, tablespoon of shallots, a tablespoon of chives, red wine vinegar, olive oil, salt, and pepper. There's your vinaigrette,
Got it,
okay?
got it.
So I'm working some carrots right now, and I got a little kale to go together, and this is all for the red quinoa salad, and also another favorite of G's and mine. And this quinoa, you know, I'll tell you something. Talk about versatile.
So much you could do with that quinoa.
Okay, so let's talk about holiday times at the G-Man's house.
Everybody cooks, so it's lots of meats, you know, whether it's ham, turkey,
That's in the
chicken,
holidays?
short ribs, yeah, and lots of vegetables.
Number one favorite item for the holidays, though. I mean, the one thing that you say, I know it's the holidays because I'm having
Mac and cheese.
mac and cheese.
Mac and cheese, absolutely, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, man, mac and cheese. Like, now you can do so much with mac and cheese. Back in the day, it was just cheesy mac and cheese. Now you can do mac and cheese with bacon, you can do mac and cheese with truffles. Your mac and cheese has, I mean, everything except the kitchen sink in it.
Well-
I mean, I remember because I made like 5,000 of them.
There's
on the
only
burger.
6 cheeses in my mac and cheese. Okay,
Man, I got the kale salad, got some carrots in there, got some radishes. Gonna put the quinoa, and I got the vinaigrette, which is red wine, and I'm ready to knock it out.
looking dynamite.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? All right, so here goes the, we got the kale in there. This is the real key to it, is the red quinoa. Let me give you a little sprinkle of that, G, kind of work it in.
Awesome.
There you go. Feeling good about that. Okay? And now, G, as soon as you're done with that, that looks fantastic. There we go. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, man.
I love sweet potato soup, but to use purple sweet potatoes is an absolute revelation. First of all, they're delicious, but second, they're just a glorious, deep purple color, and they make the most beautiful soup. And this is one of those soups that you can make for company or just for your kids on a weeknight. I just fried bacon in a big Dutch oven, and then I took the bacon out of the pan. So into the same pot, I added sliced red onion, some minced garlic, oregano and thyme, and I'm just stirring it around. Oh, it smells so incredible. And look at this pan, Paige. Look at the bottom of this pan. Look at all that flavor in there.
Yum.
Now that is the start of a delicious soup right there. Okay? So now I'm gonna add the purple sweet potatoes, AKA purple yams. You can find these really in specialty grocery stores year-round, or like regular supermarkets, sometimes get them in the fall. I love any root vegetable soup, and so you could actually use all sweet potatoes, or you could use sweet potatoes and turnips or parsnips. You could sort of do a root vegetable celebration. I like going all purple. It just kind of drives that point home. So I've got the potatoes and the onions all mixed together. So I'm gonna cook this mixture for 3 minutes. Alrighty, so those have kind of had a chance to start cooking. So I'm gonna add some cumin, yummy, yummy with sweet potato soup, and coriander, another great fall spice, and some salt and pepper, and then I'll give it a quick stir just so the spices kind of coat the potatoes and the onions. My gosh, I love this soup. So I'm gonna add the broth. I'm using vegetable broth, and you can use chicken broth if you're not interested in it being like vegetarian. I just picked vegetable because usually when I make like a root vegetable soup, I'll use vegetable broth. But any kind of broth will do. So 1 carton plus a cup or so. Okay, give it one more stir. And now we just have to be patient. I'm gonna crank up the heat, bring this to a boil, and let it cook for 15 minutes, and then I'll finish it up. Okay, the soup's just about done, so I'm going to make an incredible topping that is part of the wonder of the soup, and it's part of what makes it so pretty too. So the bacon that I cooked in the pot, right from the top, I'm chopping it up, and it's gonna be part of the topping. Okay, so I've got a little bowl, and I'm gonna put the bacon in the bowl, and then I have some other things to add to the bacon. Pistachios, chopped pistachios, they're so pretty. And then chopped parsley, and chopped oregano, and then a little bit of turmeric. A little goes a long way, so don't go overboard. And then I'll get a little spoon and stir it together. But you could do any combination of herbs and nuts.
That looks so good.
It does look good, doesn't it? All right, so now back to the soup. Time to puree. So look at this first page. I'll show you what it looks like. See those sweet potatoes? They're pretty much falling apart, and that's the stage that you want to get it to before you puree. So I'm going to use an immersion blender. That way I don't have to take it out of the pot. Wish me luck. I'm going in. All right. Okay, just come take a look at this. Did I promise you purple soup or what? Wow. Isn't that pretty? But it's not like obnoxious purple. It's like beautiful, deep, earthy purple. Okay, so I'm gonna show you how pretty it is to serve. Plain bowl. I'm gonna fill it with the soup. And you don't actually have to fill the bowl because that would be a lot of soup.
That really is purple.
It's
Super
pretty,
purple.
isn't it? All right. Ooh, that looks good. And then a little bit of sour cream. Ooh. And then the moment Paige has been waiting for. Okay. Just a little sprinkle. Isn't that pretty?
Oh, that's so pretty.
Gorgeous. I love it. This soup is delicious.
Easy white bean and mushroom soup. This is very simple. I've got some store-bought shortcuts I want to show you, just really first starting with this. If you have not gone to your freezer section and done some reinvigoration of your freezer section at home, you are missing out because you can get these sauteed and chopped onion pods. You keep them in your freezer. They stay good for a long time. They also have garlic, ginger, and some people have even found some herb ones in the freezer section. So just a couple of little pods. You could just plunk them out, and they'll just kind of meld into everything. Matter of fact, I'll add 3. And then to that, I've got some mushrooms. I just buy a couple of those little packs of wild mushrooms that are like mixed together, and I chop them down. So get that in. No salt yet, okay? Because the salt's gonna make it sweat, and then they're gonna steam more than they will actually brown and cook. So just get them in there. I've got my pot on like a nice medium high so they can actually get a little bit of color on them, turn it up a little bit. And then to the pot, some thyme. It's like nature's own bouquet garni. It's already attached and ready to go. Just get that in there. All right, now, mushrooms soak up a lot of fat, so you might have to add a little bit of extra olive oil, but not too much, and let it just kind of hang out for a second, all right? You're just gonna wait until everything cooks down. Kind of like spinach mushroom, has lots of water in it, so you'll start with a big pile and then everything cooks down to a small little bit. This is gonna bring a lot of color actually as well to our soup. Okay, to that, I love these little tiny sweet peppers. You can find them, they have like yellow, orange, and red and all just one big bag. Sometimes I'll just put them on the grill and char them and serve them right next to a steak. But they're also very good in this. Just chop them down. They're not spicy at all. Add a nice sweet note and color, it's beautiful. Then a can of white beans, cannellini, just rinse them off and get them in there. Okay, a little bit of flavor here. I love adding grained Dijon mustard to gravies and sauces, so why not a soup? It just adds a little bit of funk, a little zip as well. To that, vegetable stock. Wait a minute, am I going vegan? Slow down. But listen, I haven't added any animal fat yet, so this is good for the vegans, my vegan crew. As you add this in, remember that bottom that was nice and golden brown and crusted from sauteing our mushrooms? Just make sure you use your spoon to get in there and just really move things around. Now, to this, I like to add some salt, okay? Because remember, we did not salt the mushrooms. The vegetable stock is gonna come with its own kind of salt, and then tons of black pepper. Just go, you know, go crazy and add extra flavor, but look at this. All right, so I'm going to cover this. It's gonna simmer for about 20 minutes. That's just gonna allow all of the flavors to really come together, and then we're gonna add in Katie's favorite ingredient. You already know what it is. All right, let me get this soup up here. Now remember, cover it up, low simmer, and look at this. How it reduces, and just really, it is showing off. Beautiful. Now, remember that sprig that we put in the very beginning? That sprig of thyme with personality? Just go in and get it out. All right, as it's nice and bubbly here, another store-bought shortcut I love is going into the produce section and getting that bag of already pre-shredded kale. I further chop it down because I don't want the strings. I always think about getting things onto my spoon when I make a soup. I want everything to be on the spoon at the same time. So in my mind, I want some bean, I want some mushroom, and I want some kale to all be on the spoon. So chopping down the pre-shred will really get you to the finish line there. This only takes about 60 seconds to wilt in. Kind of has the curb appeal of an Italian wedding soup. There you have it. It is my white bean and mushroom soup. So simple, so much personality, so much color. Come on, start your dinner party off right. Look at that. Now at the very end, I like to come in and just kind of make it nice and bright. It's really gonna marry well with that mustard that you put in there. It's gonna really make the mustard kind of talk. And what I'm talking about is a quick little spritz of lemon So you can kind of serve a little lemon wedge with it and allow everyone to be interactive with their soup. And then, a little hot sauce.
My college friends are visiting the farm and I'm making some of my Middle Eastern favorites. I have a unique spin on tabbouleh salad that is vibrant, crisp, and fresh. I'm gonna start by ricing some cauliflower, and tabbouleh salad is typically made with bulgur wheat, but instead of that, I'm using this cauliflower rice. And this was a thing I started doing one year on Passover because you can't have wheat on Passover. And it was so good. The cauliflower just kind of soaks up all the flavors of the vegetables and the herbs that typically go in tabbouleh. And it makes me feel better about eating the whole bowl because cauliflower is good for you. All right, now you can buy cauliflower riced already, or you can save money and rice it yourself easily with a box grater. And you get what looks like rice. I've got my cauliflower rice, and now I'm gonna quickly saute it in some olive oil. Cauliflower rice is also really good as fried rice. Now I'm just gonna cook this for a few minutes, and while this cooks, I'll gather the rest of my vegetables. I've got a few radishes, some scallions, and Persian cucumbers here that I'll chop up. And I love these little Persian cucumbers. They're crisper and sweeter than the big guys. And they're gonna add such nice crispness and a little bit of sweetness to this salad. I think it's about ready to remove from the heat. Okay. Now I'll continue chopping up the rest of my vegetables. I've got 6 scallions here that I'm gonna slice thinly. I'm just dumping all my ingredients into my salad bowl. And now a few radishes will add a nice peppery kick. I'm gonna add half of a red onion. And now I'm gonna add tons of herbs. Tabbouleh has to have a lot of fresh herbs. I've got cilantro, parsley, and mint in here. I'll just pile these right in. And now I'm gonna add a little bit of heat with some crushed red pepper. And I'll season with salt and pepper. And now this salad doesn't really have a dressing. I'm just gonna add tons of lemon juice and olive oil. And this is gonna add so much nice brightness. So I'm adding the juice of 1 lemon, and then I'm gonna eyeball about a 1/4 cup of olive oil. Doesn't need to be exact. Now I'll toss it all together. Oh, it's so fun to see all of these colors blend together, get really pretty. Okay, let me sneak a taste. I just love the way the lemon and the olive oil coat all the vegetables and really makes their flavor shine. This is gonna be the perfect side dish to my falafel.
My daughter Paige is leaving for her volleyball practice in Tulsa, and she does not have time to stop and eat. So I'm gonna make her a scrumptious meal on the go. Taco chicken Caesar salad wrap. It is a delightful mashup of 2 delicious things, and it's really, really easy to pull together. I just grated a bunch of Parmesan. Now I'll get started on the chicken for the wrap. I've got a pretty hot skillet, and I'll add a good amount of olive oil. I've got some diced chicken breast, just enough for 2 wraps. I'm making one for myself along with Paige. Hey, if I'm gonna go to the trouble, I might as well make myself one too. I'll sprinkle on salt and pepper. Now to the chicken, I'm gonna add some taco flavors. About 2 teaspoons of chili powder, a teaspoon of paprika, and a teaspoon of ground cumin. Now I'm just gonna stir it up and make sure the spices, the oil, and the chicken are all mixed together. Paige's volleyball season is actually about to come to an end. She's graduating soon, so it's that time of year that she's gonna start experiencing all of these lasts. It is gonna be really sad when she doesn't have volleyball games anymore. She's only played for a little over 3 years, but she loved it so much, she practiced a lot, and she's gotten really, really good. All right, the chicken's gonna take a few minutes to cook. So while it does, I'm gonna make the dressing for the wraps. It's a quick Caesar dressing with a little bit of a taco spin. start with some mayonnaise. I'm just gonna kind of eyeball it, probably about half a cup. And some Dijon. I really like quick Caesar dressings. When I make Caesar dressing from scratch, it's a little bit of a lengthy process of the garlic and the anchovies. It takes a little bit more time. Some Worcestershire sauce and some garlic salt. No peeling and chopping of cloves. Good little time saver. Now for the taco component, I'm gonna add a good spoonful of adobo sauce from a can of chipotle peppers. Oh, why not another little spoonful? And then I'll stir this together. You can make a really big batch. It keeps nice in the fridge. Now I'm gonna chop up some romaine lettuce, which of course is a nod to the Caesar component of this salad. It is so easy to prep romaine. Some people are purists and they think that you need to tear it piece by piece, but I can't think of the last time I have torn romaine lettuce. I'm just gonna put the lettuce straight into the dressing bowl and then I'll use tongs to start tossing it a bit. Now here's where some of the Parmesan comes in. You can also make the dressing in a blender and add the Parmesan there, and it just sort of breaks it all up and the Parmesan becomes one with the dressing. That is delicious too. Okay, I've got 2 big flour tortillas, and I'll start by adding a whole bunch of the salad. I'm gonna leave a little bit of a gap on top and then really load it up. There is not a salad anywhere that Paige doesn't love. She makes them herself at home. She always orders big, beautiful salads in restaurants. She kind of keeps me on my toes. I'm always kind of trying to come up with the next big salad for her. Let's face it, she keeps me on my toes in pretty much every area. Now I'm gonna add some cheddar cheese. This is for the taco salad side of things. And I have some beautiful halved grape tomatoes. The point is to add so much to the wrap that you're almost afraid it won't close. Then you know it's gonna be good. Okay, I'm gonna check on the chicken. It looks absolutely fantastic. So I'll spoon it on. Chicken thighs would also be good here. Or if you have leftover chicken or rotisserie chicken, you can just kind of shred it, put it in the skillet with the ingredients and warm it up real fast. That's a nice shortcut too. Okay, I'm officially scared these are not gonna close. So I'm gonna stop with the chicken. I'm gonna sprinkle on a little more Parmesan. I mean, you don't know whether it's a taco salad or a chicken Caesar salad, and that's exactly what my plan was. Now I am going to attempt to roll this up. I'll tuck in the bottom so everything won't fall out, and then I'll just fold the 2 sides over as tight as I can, and then I'll start with a little piece of paper just to make it easy for Paige to eat on the run. I'll wrap it with a little bit sticking out. To be safe, I'll roll this whole thing up in foil. So easy. And if you have all the components ready, you can make as many of these as you want, depending on who you're making them for. Okay, I'll roll mine up, and then I'll have a delivery to make. Paige has a long drive to Tulsa ahead, so I'm gonna meet her at the house to save her some time. I've gotta get going. The sooner I deliver these to my daughter, the sooner I get to eat my wrap.
My easy, parsimonious chicken tortilla soup. I'm just going to add in some veggies, okay? But first, just get a little bit of olive oil down. All right, into my pan here to sweat everything out, the jalapenos and my onions I'm about to get in with some salt.
Salt.
And then I like to hit it with lots of black pepper. And the onions, I like to kind of not chop them down. I love how they can kind of, you know, be a texture moment in the soup, and you pull up your spoon and there's little pieces of onion hanging off the side, you know. So think about that when you slice them down. And then get in a little bit of cumin. Let all of these spices bloom.
Smoked paprika?
You already know. This is my hot Hungarian paprika.
I haven't seen it in a while.
It has been in the pantry. Speaking of the pantry, it's a good time at the start of the year to look through your pantry, smell all of your spices. If they don't smell like what they should smell like, just get rid of them. This is gonna get nice and tender. To this, I would add the can of diced tomatoes and green chilies that is always in my pantry for a good nacho dip. Yeah, it's all in the same can.
So smart.
Yeah, and sometimes you can get just the green chilies, but I like the tomatoes and the green chilies together.
That's like you added salsa to your chili once. Remember you made that?
That's right.
It's a great idea.
And then, GZ, this luscious stock. Just pour that right over the top.
That's at least, what, 2.5 boxes of stock?
Oh, easily. Maybe
I-
more.
And then just shut up the pot, you know?
At least 2 boxes.
All right, so after that is all in there, you're gonna cover it up. You're gonna cook it for about 15 to 20 minutes or so, just to kind of make everything marry. And then it's gonna come out looking like this, and then we're not done yet. To that, you just add in some rotisserie chicken. Obviously, you can buy shredded chicken now in the grocery store or your rotisserie chicken and do the work yourself. But we're saving money here, so.
I wonder if
Now-
we did how much this would cost per person. I probably like.
Very inexpensive, I
$1?
would have to say. So the chicken, just so you know, I put that in at the last minute, maybe just 5 minutes before you serve. It's already cooked. I don't want to cook it super long and dry it out. I just want to rehydrate it and bring it into the game. So let me make a little bowl.
Game time.
It's game time.
It's game time.
Giddy up,
This is
game time.
actually game time
Giddy
food.
up.
Giddy up. That's what you say when
know?
you ride a horsey. I mean, you got to have some toppings for that.
You
It's all
do.
about.
Very simple. Okay, now this is what I've also found as I'm trying to get back into my jeans, is the smaller you slice things up, the more plentiful they feel. So just get that on there.
We could have used some of that leftover green taqueria style sauce too.
Oh, yeah. that's gotta
Actually,
be
really
served with-
could. That would be delicious.
For plunk.
And then, oh, here we go, a spoon. And then this would be, and kind of looks like sour cream, but I've been
What is it?
replacing that in my kitchen with a little Greek yogurt,
Oh,
Oh.
whole fat,
risotto.
right over the top.
Did you fry those strips?
Yeah,
Sonny?
those are fried, 350 with some oil. You can do canola. I usually do like a shallow fry too. Don't worry about deep frying it. Just an inch in your pan
Jeff, that's for Jeff.
and give it a
Oh,
go.
that's for me.
Here, pass that hot sauce down if you
Hot
want
sauce.
any.
There you go.
Do you want hot sauce?
Yeah, I'll have some hot sauce, and I'd love a spoon, and I can do this old-timey style.
Lisa, can I have some more tortillas too?
Yeah,
Calm
wow,
down.
2 spoons. I'm going in there, Sonny. I got some onion
Go in.
hangover.
Great.
Simple. You've got a good stock to start with, so you
I
don't
mean-
really have to go hard in the paint, you know, with the flavor.
The foundation is a good stock, and it's, you know, it's soup. It's soup consistency, but it tastes thick on the palate. You know what I mean? Because it's so luscious. Then you get the little crispy bits on top from those strips of tortilla. The Greek yogurt brings the tang like a crema or sour cream would.
I love crema.
And the star of the show is that perfectly reinvigorated chicken. You know, that is just perfect. Dab of hot sauce per spoon. And you got yourself meal number 2 from chicken number 1.
The first thing I'm gonna make is chicken noodle soup. I am shredding this entire chicken. The wings, the thighs, the breast, but I'm not using the skin, especially like in soups and stews. It makes it really fatty and there's like a film that forms. What I usually do is just eat it as I go. I'm gonna put 1.5 cups in this bowl for my chicken noodle soup. Now I'm gonna chop up my veggies. I have 1 stalk of celery and I'm gonna cut up this entire onion. That's pretty fine. Roughly chop some parsley. If you use dried, you want to use a lot less. Dried herbs are much stronger than fresh. Head over to the stove and get this baby started. I'm gonna add a little olive oil to get my onions and celery started. Add a little salt to help draw some of that water out of it. I'm cooking my onions down until it becomes a little translucent, a little soft. So the onions are nice and translucent. A little garlic powder, some onion powder, a little bit of the Italian seasoning. It has basil, parsley, oregano. Last but not least, the chicken bouillon. I'm gonna use just about a tablespoon. Because I am not using a chicken stock or a chicken broth, I gotta break this down with some water. I'm using 5 cups of water. I'm basically creating my own broth. So my water and onions and everything has come to a boil. Now I'm gonna add that shredded chicken. So that's about 1.5 cups. I'm gonna also add my parsley now. Frozen peas and carrots, they get used in my house. They come in handy. This is a 16-ounce bag, so leave about that much in there. Add 1 cup of my egg noodles. Okay, that's about 1 cup. Bring it back to a boil and just cook it until the noodles get soft and they're al dente. And talk about easy and simple and inexpensive.
I'm gonna make a quick pickled slaw to go with some citrus chicken and rice bowls that my mom is gonna freak out about. I'm gonna combine 1 cup of water along with 1/2 cup of white vinegar, 1/4 cup of sugar. I'm just getting together a really simple brine that's gonna pickle my veggies and a nice big pinch of salt. Now I'll bring this to a simmer and I'm gonna whisk it so that the salt and the sugar dissolve, and then it'll be ready for my veggies. I've got some carrots here and a daikon radish, and I'll pile them in. I love to have this slaw on hand because it's not only gonna be great on my rice bowls, but it's also really good on sandwiches. And now I'll pour my brine right over them. A quick pickle is something that uses vinegar and some sugar to impart that pickly flavor pretty quickly, and you can use this brine with any sort of vegetable. I'll cover these up and stick them in the fridge for a good 30 minutes, but they'll keep for a couple of weeks. Right now I'm just chopping up some garlic that'll go in my marinade. And now I'll grab my chicken thighs and a bag to marinate them in. I'll add my chicken thighs directly to the bag. And you can use chicken breast too, either will work. I'll add my garlic, soy sauce. This is a really simple but really flavorful marinade. I love sesame oil. Sesame is one of my favorite flavors. The toastiness of this is delicious. And now I'm gonna add the juice of an orange and the juice of a lime. You actually don't wanna marinate chicken and citrus for very long because then it'll get rubbery. So it only takes about 15 to 30 minutes. If you get season it, don't worry about it because it's just a marinade. Okay, I'll close up my bag and mush it around and get those flavors all up in the chicken. So I'm only gonna stick it in the fridge for about 15 minutes. Now I'm gonna whip up some sriracha mayo for my rice bowls. I am going to start with a nice big plop. And I'm just making this to taste. My mom and I like quite a bit of heat, so I'm gonna add a nice big hit of sriracha, but just do it to your taste. And this is gonna be the sauce for the top of my rice bowl. These are gonna be as pretty as they are tasty. I have my grill pan heating here, and I'm gonna add some olive oil so that it doesn't stick. And if you don't have a grill pan, a regular skillet will do. While my chicken grills, I'm gonna prep the rest of my toppings. I have an English cucumber and a jalapeno and the slaw that I made. And I like cutting them along the bias because it looks pretty that way. Okay, I'm gonna check on the chicken. That is exactly what I'm looking for. It has some beautiful char marks on it. I'm gonna grab a lime to chop up. Now I'll thinly slice these. Oh, it's so juicy. I've already got some brown rice prepared, so a scoop of that. Now the chicken. I like to top the chicken with some hoisin sauce. Hoisin is kind of caramelly and sweet. It's so good. And a mayo plop. My slaw. And the cucumbers. I know my mom's gonna want kind of a lot of jalapenos. I'll add extras to hers. And some cilantro. I'm gonna finish this with a lime wedge. Right there. I'm really proud of these. My mom's gonna love them.
Lettuce wraps filled with succulent grilled chicken. So I'm gonna get a quick marinade on the chicken. I've got some really thin chicken breasts and I'm adding some olive oil, minced garlic, lemon zest, and crushed red pepper, salt and pepper, and the rosemary I just chopped really fine. There's kind of a little energy in the air today because my mom is coming and we all love G so much. My mom's name is Jerry. The kids have always called her G, and she's just kind of walking, talking, breathing sunshine everywhere she goes. Wouldn't you say?
I agree.
I agree.
I didn't necessarily think that when I was a teenager and she was like giving me rules. I didn't like those teenager rules at all. But I've come to appreciate her now that I have teenagers and it's all about rules in our house. Boy, I am really diving into the history of my adolescence. So if you have time, come and look at this, Alex. If you have time, you can get this marinade going and give the chicken a good hour or so, but we don't have time for that because G is on her way. And so I'm gonna go ahead and get these on the grill. They've already got plenty of oil on them, so get them on one by one. G lives about an hour and 15 minutes away, so hopefully the timing works out. All right, I'm gonna babysit these chicken breasts, cook them for about 4 to 5 minutes per side, and then we'll keep moving forward with the mom lunch. The chicken is beautifully grilled, and I'm gonna just remove it to the board and let it cool while I make some other ingredients. Nothing like grilled chicken for a mom lunch. So I have a question. When are you guys gonna make me lunch? Huh?
You don't give us a chance.
Well,
You're always the one cooking.
fair point. For the lettuce wraps, I'm gonna make a really simple kind of bruschetta topping. And I've got some diced tomatoes, some finely diced onion. This is basically the tomato topping that you would put on top of grilled bread. Which, do you like bruschetta?
Oh, yeah.
Or bruschetta?
I love bruschetta.
It's one of my favorite things on earth. Chopped artichoke hearts from the jar or the can, either one. Lemon juice, olive oil.
This is right up G's alley. It's also fresh.
This is up G's alley. That is so true. Anytime G comes over, I just think, my mom's coming over. I'm so excited. I want my mom. Okay, added some salt and pepper and a little bit of crushed red pepper flakes. I just kind of leave these out on my stove. They never go into the drawer. And I'll give this a stir. Yum, yum.
That is beautiful.
Yeah, it's very simple, and you can add some fresh basil if you want, or just kind of, I like leaving it plain and holy. So I'll put this into a little dish. Things I love about my mom. She's nice to everyone. She's always got a smile on her face. Unless you get on her bad side. No, I'm just kidding.
I don't think she has a bad side.
I don't think so either. She speaks in sort of a sing-song voice.
She does.
It's like, hi, Riri. It's kind of, intonation. She's always optimistic. She's a fun person to be around, unless you're a teenager. Okay, so I'm gonna move this board over here. So I'm actually gonna present the lettuce wraps on a board so everybody can dive in and make their own. So I'm gonna put the tomato and artichoke mixture on the board, and I'll show you what else is on there here in a second. And I've got a big old knife, and I'm gonna chop or dice the chicken. You can slice it really thin, but I kind of wanna get it into little bitty, kind of bite-sized bits. So give me a minute or two. I'm gonna chop up this chicken. Okay, so look at this board. I chopped the chicken and I put it on the board. I've got some Bibb lettuce leaves, some Parmesan, a little dish of pesto, the tomato artichoke bruschetta topping, and basil leaves. So isn't this a beautiful presentation?
So beautiful.
Lovely. I've also got some balsamic glaze. So I'm gonna save this for G's arrival because I don't want to mess everything up, but just for you viewers at home, I'm gonna go ahead and show you how to serve. You can figure it out, it's very easy, but A little bit of chicken, a little bit of pesto on top of the chicken.
Yum.
Need another spoon here. A little bit of the bruschetta topping, and a little bit is a relative term. Little parm, some balsamic glaze. Oh, beautiful. And then, why not, a whole basil leaf.
Wow.
Oops. This is a great little spin on lettuce wraps. My mom loves flavors like this. She is going to absolutely love it. Unfortunately, this one is not gonna last until she gets here. Might as well go ahead and eat it. Definitely G-friendly. The multi-cooker is my new favorite pot, and I'm gonna use it to make black bean soup. Basically, I'm just gonna throw everything in there, and before I know it, I'm gonna have a delicious soup with all the fixins. I'm gonna cook some veggies in saute mode first. And I've got some finely diced onion and minced garlic. Delicious start. And then I have some diced red bell pepper. I just took the seeds out. A multi-cooker is primarily an electronic pressure cooker, but the great thing about it is you can saute in it before you put the lid on and pressure cook whatever it is you're making. It's really a miraculous machine, if you ask me. I'm also gonna add some sliced jalapenos, and then I'll stir all this around. And now I'm just gonna let the veggies cook until they're soft. It's gonna take 4 minutes. I'm back with the chili powder, and that goes in next. I'll add a couple of tablespoons. Gotta have chili powder whenever you make black beans. They just go together. And then a tablespoon of ground cumin, another of my favorites. And then the beans need quite a bit of salt, so I'll add a couple of teaspoons and give this a stir. Oh gosh, those veggies look amazing. Before I put the veggies into the multi-cooker, I added a little bit of lard. You can do butter or oil, whatever you prefer. Okay, this looks great. So I'll add in the beans, just dried black beans. And for the liquid, I've got vegetable broth. You can use chicken broth, even water would work, but I like the flavor of broth. Now the final thing is to set it to cook on manual. Here goes. So it's 50 minutes of cooking, followed by 10 minutes for the pressure to release naturally. Then I'll release the rest of the steam through quick release. The fun part is always taking off the lid and seeing what's inside. It looks really thick and rich. So this is a good time to add the juice of a couple of limes. All right, now I'll stir. And then you can serve the black bean soup just as it is now with the whole beans. But I kind of like to puree the beans a little bit just so the soup has a mix of textures. So there's no better tool for that than an immersion blender. Okay. I'm gonna stop there because I really like the texture. It's sort of a cross between refried beans and whole beans. So you wanna get a nice bowl with a wide rim. Gosh, this looks great. Okay, now for the fixins, I'm gonna add some sour cream, some diced avocado, some diced red onion, and some diced tomato. How gorgeous is this looking? And then just cilantro leaves. Sprinkle them over. It's always nice to give it a little extra squeeze of lime. Oh, so good.
The method I think I use the most, is particularly for salads, is bone-in, skin-on chicken breasts. And I'm just gonna show you how I do it. Olive oil, salt and pepper. It's as easy as that. So, olive oil, salt and pepper. Lots of pepper. You want it to have lots of flavor. In the oven, 350 degrees for 35 to 40 minutes, and it comes out perfectly every time. first I've got the chicken, but in the same oven, I've cooked some bacon. And still in the same oven, I roasted some nuts. It's actually walnuts, cashews, and almonds. And I just roasted them for like 10 minutes. It really brings out the flavor. Okay, those are the components. Now we're gonna make the vinaigrette. So the first thing is olive oil. I need 2/3 of a cup of olive oil, 3 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. Next thing is mustard. Give it a little heat. I love to add mustard to vinaigrette because it emulsifies it. 2 teaspoons of honey. Just a little bit of sweetness is nice. And then 1.5 teaspoons of salt. I want to have lots of flavor. 1/2 teaspoon of pepper. Give it a whisk. And that's the vinaigrette. I just kind of, with my hands, just do large shreds of chicken. The next thing is bacon. It's nice and cool now. And I'm just gonna dice it up. And next, I've got all kinds of lettuces to put in. I've got kale and frise. I've got them all washed and dried. And you want to be sure to spin dry them really well because if they're wet, the vinaigrette won't stick to it. And the next thing is spinach. And I use baby spinach leaves. Just put it all in. Classic Waldorf salad has grapes, but I'm using raisins instead. Just about 1/2 cup. Okay, next is cheese. It's a really good sharp cheddar, about 1 cup. Next, the bacon and the chicken. Nice crisp red apple. If you're gonna make this a little in advance, do the apple last because you don't want it to turn brown. Okay, now of course, we need salt and pepper and the vinaigrette. One last ingredient, soft-boiled eggs. I'm just gonna cut them in quarters, and while I do, I'm gonna show you how I made them. I put 4 extra large eggs into a medium saucepan and covered them with tap water. Brought it to a full boil, then immediately turned off the heat. I let them sit in the water for exactly 4 minutes. Then I put them into a bowl of cold tap water for 2 minutes to cool. I like to put the eggs on top. I don't want to mix them in too much because you don't want them messed up.
Mushroom cheesesteak lettuce wraps. It's like 3 or 4 different mashups going on there, but I love lettuce wraps because they eliminate the bread from any situation, but also just using mushrooms instead of the beef for the cheesesteak part of it is kind of a triumph. I think mushrooms are kind of downright meaty when you cook them a certain way. Don't tell any cattle rancher in Osage County that I said that. It'll be our little secret. So I just sliced some portobello mushrooms and I had scraped the gills out with a spoon beforehand. So I'm going to add a couple of tablespoons of soy sauce. Soy sauce is so good with mushrooms. And then a couple of tablespoons of balsamic vinegar. So it kind of helps the mushrooms get that sort of meaty, steaky quality. And then some garlic powder and oregano. Delicious. And then I'm not gonna add salt because there's soy sauce, but I am gonna add plenty of pepper. So I will give this a quick stir. And then I'm gonna put the mushrooms in and just get them all kind of tossed and coated. Okay, so I've got a skillet and I've been heating it up. I'm gonna add just about a tablespoon of olive oil, so not much. I'm not afraid of olive oil when it comes to lightening up recipes. I don't think of it as sort of a heavy ingredient at all. So I'm gonna add the mushrooms. Woo, that was hot. And then I also have some sliced onion, lots of onion, and some sliced red bell pepper. Oh, it smells so good already. How is that possible? That was like seconds after it hit the skillet. I'm gonna cook this for 10 minutes until everything is soft and the moisture from the mushrooms has all given off. Stay tuned. Alex, slowly come in here and look at this. I just want you to savor. I mean, this is so beautiful. Those onions are so caramelized, and the depth of color in this skillet is just a beautiful thing to behold. So, these are cheesesteaks. I'm not gonna lighten things up in that regard. Instead of like a processed cheese sauce, I'm doing provolone, which is kind of a relatively good cheese when you wanna lighten things up a little bit. So I'm just laying the provolone on top of the whole mixture in the skillet, and I'm gonna put the lid on and just let this slowly melt for a couple of minutes, and then I'll come back and show you how the magic is gonna unfold. Okay, I'd say that cheese is melted. What do you think, Alex? Wow. Ooh, that looks amazing. So all I'm gonna do is just stir the cheese in with the portobellos and the onions and the peppers, and it's basically a complete and total mess inside of this pan. And that's what cheesesteaks are all about, whether they're made with mushrooms or beef. So I've got some butter lettuce cups or bib lettuce cups, and I'm just gonna spoon the glorious mixture into each cup. Cheese is gonna go everywhere. You will think you're in a cheese nightmare because you won't be able to get away from it. Wow, oh wow. Okay, what do you think, Alex and Stu?
Those look really good. I'm surprised.
They look fantastically delicious, don't they?
It looks like steak, kind of.
That's the whole point. Mushroom cheesesteak lettuce wraps. Ah, I've got to taste a bite. Don't tell anyone. Oh, wow. What can I say? These are amazing.
Spring pea salad with jamon ham and mustard vinaigrette. Katie, you're gonna take those.
Sugar snap pea?
They're beautiful, blanch them. They've been picked, they're crisp, they're delicious.
So sweet.
They need literally 10 seconds,
Right.
not more, and they have to go in an ice bath. We just have a boatload of salt in here. So 10 seconds, shock them, dry them, and we're ready to go. So, I'm gonna take these peas, which I've done the exact same thing, right, with the English peas.
Yeah,
Just
fantastic.
blanch them same way, putting them in here. Then I'm gonna take some of these beautiful snow peas and I'm gonna julienne them as good as possible. It's not a big deal if you don't do them perfect. Just put them on their side and cut like this. I actually love them like this. And we're gonna toss them in the vinaigrette. Oh, look how beautiful. Look at the color here.
Perfect, right? They're so vibrant.
Salt and ice water.
Would you say they're verdant?
Verdant.
Yeah.
Well, you know, you're the bookworm of us.
I love a quick blanch. I think it's a great way to hydrate your vegetables and actually make something super juicy like a sugar snap pea even juicier. And we want that juiciness in spring.
Oh, the smell of cutting this is fantastic.
Is this a cold or room temperature salad?
This is a room temperature salad.
Room temperature.
Room temperature salad.
I mean, I'm just thinking about this. I'm doing a little math and thinking how beautiful this will be with my brisket.
Oh, that's right.
To have that freshness with the heavy meat.
And I'm right after those beautiful deviled eggs you made, you devil. Okay, let's make our vinaigrette. Are you ready? I formed a little clock. Isn't that cute? It's 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock. Okay, mustard. There's a lot of mustard. Shallots.
I think of mustard and peas as going so well together.
Oh, yeah.
Just naturally.
A lot of pepper. A lot of pepper. A good amount of salt.
Wow.
Chardonnay vinegar. A little bit of hazelnut oil, because I love walnut oil, hazelnut oil, but you gotta be very careful. Like sesame oil, they can like kill a dish.
Okay.
And
You can
and olive oil.
I just think if you do buy a little bottle of nut oil, because it's extravagant, but it's worth it, keep it in the fridge.
Good tip.
Because the
Goes
nuts,
bad
the
so
nut
fast.
flavors, they
Get rancid.
lose their pungency and they get rancid quickly, yeah.
So let's taste this. It just looks good. This is broken. Everybody asks me, should I drizzle? I have never drizzled in my life. I either put it in a blender for an emulsification or I just stir it like this. And if it breaks, you just shake it in a little pint jar in a plastic container and shake it up. And then would you snip me some pea shoots?
Oh, little pea
The final,
shoots.
what's that called? the final.
The pièce de résistance,
Yeah, kinda, yeah.
as
Just
you
throw
guys
'em in
would
here.
say, right? You want all of them in
Yeah.
like this? Is that all
Yeah,
right?
you don't have to go so, just like long, just go, right? There you go. Beautiful.
Just like Martha. This is a Martha Stewart vibe right here.
All right, good. Thank you so
right.
much. So we have, look how pretty that is. I mean, it
Gorgeous.
doesn't need much, and the texture is fantastic.
Love it.
Okay, so we're gonna bring it over here, and we are gonna dress this beautiful salad. Now, I know there's a couple schools of thought. I liked having the dry salad here and pouring dressing on top. Some people paint the bowl and put the salad, and I think it makes, whether you're doing lettuce, I think painting is better. In this case, I wanna dose this, like you like to say.
Yeah.
Okay?
Dose it.
Dose it. Katie, we hit that with a touch of pepper and some salt. I'm not gonna put a lot, but I love these creamy shallots. See how creamy that is in the mustard? You can
I mean,
tell
I think
it's
a
good.
vegetable that's juicy like this and,
And
even
just-
watery and sweet needs the punch of a
And
thick
just be
dressing.
careful. Don't get in there with tongs and start destroying everything.
I went for it. Sorry.
It needs like a touch more salt, but no, because we got some special stuff coming. What do you think?
I think it's perfect. I salted it, so
So it's
you know,
perfect.
If you say it needs more, though.
No, I think it needs a touch, but I think we're gonna put another touch on this of something else. That, look how beautiful that is. So you have all the texture of peas,
It's beautiful.
some raw, some cooked, some lightly blanched.
By the way, I love the pink bowl with the green.
Oh,
And really, the freshness of this is
And this I
going to
just
be
pile
so
high.
perfect next to your roast, Alex. Talk about a perfect plate of spring. We're going to have it.
I really think this is an unusual, like an unexpected spring meal. You know, it's not your first thought.
a little
Which I love.
manchego
Oh, manchego.
or ricotta salata,
I love ricotta salata with this.
a few toasted hazelnuts,
Oh, bring back that hazelnut oil.
and a little splash,
Splash,
a splash
of ham.
little Serrano ham chips.
That's the first unit of measurement. That's the first time we've had a splash of ham on
Just
the
a
show.
splash of ham, y'all. You know?
little crisped it up, and there you have your beautiful spring pea salad.
That is gorgeous.
Look at that.
That is stunning, Geoffrey.
Gorgeous.
I'm gonna make a little for you guys.
I'm having
Okay.
some, too.
I have to tell you, I really am obsessed with hazelnuts. If you want to get me on board, just add hazelnuts or almond extract, and I'm there. It doesn't matter what else you put.
Well, let me know.
I cannot wait. Look at this, so vibrant. And when I look at it, first of all, my mouth waters, but second of all, I can just tell what great texture.
I can't wait to make this at home.
It's the little things you did here.
I like to make a chicken quinoa bowl, and it is delicious, so much flavor. I am making the chicken first. I've just got 2 boneless, skinless chicken breasts, and I drizzled olive oil on, and then I'm sprinkling on some taco seasoning, which is one of the things that makes this so easy. You don't have to mix up a seasoning yourself. And then just a little bit of salt. Make sure the chicken is well seasoned. So I'm gonna put them right onto a grill pan, and I need to cook the chicken about 5 minutes per side until it's totally done. All right, I'm gonna let the chicken rest. And I'm gonna move over to the quinoa. This is a chicken quinoa bowl after all. Now I cooked some red quinoa, and I just used the package instructions. So I'm gonna zip it up with a little bit of lime juice and then some lime zest, a little bit of salt, and some chopped cilantro. Quinoa is so delicious, and you can use it in place of rice in things like the chicken bowl that I'm making. Now I'm gonna let it sit for 5 minutes. It is time to assemble. The first thing I'll do is add the quinoa, which makes perfect sense. I'll slice the chicken breast and just arrange it kind of around the edge of the bowl. And that's gonna leave room for lots of other good stuff, including this amazing salsa. It's easy roasted corn salsa. I threw half a cup of thawed frozen roasted corn kernels into a bowl with a 1/4 cup of diced red onion, a 2-ounce jar of drained pimentos, and half a cup of halved cherry tomatoes. Then I added the juice of a lime, a tablespoon of chopped cilantro, a pinch of salt, and gave it a toss. This salsa is so pretty. It's actually more like a corn salad, to be honest. And I am being generous with it in this bowl. I've got some sliced avocado, some queso fresco, a dollop of sour cream, a squeeze of lime, and then I like to put a couple of lime wedges on the edge of the bowl. Some hot sauce, of course. Perfection. The only thing that'll make it better is a sprinkling of cilantro. That is one beautiful chicken quinoa bowl. Now I'm gonna build another one just like it.
I love Belgium. I love their style. It's a combination of both elegant and earthy. In fact, it's what inspired the barn. And when I go there, I love a restaurant called Pain Quotidien, and they had the most incredible sandwich when I went, and it was tuna salad with hummus. And I thought, that's the bizarrest combination I ever heard. But when I ate it, I thought, it's absolutely delicious. So that's what I'm making today. I'm starting with good tuna, and it's Italian tuna packed in olive oil. I just find it has really good flavor. I need 14 ounces. One of the nice things about the sandwich is everything tastes better if you make it a little ahead of time. I've already made the hummus, and now I'm making the tuna salad. I'm just gonna drain the tuna. I want a little bit of the oil, but not all of it. Okay, into a big bowl to mix it all together. I'm just gonna flake it a little bit. Now I'm just gonna add some really good ingredients. They're sort of classic tuna ingredients, but with the volume turned up. So the first thing is 1/4 cup of chopped celery. Then I'm gonna add 2 tablespoons of chopped onion. This is just a yellow onion. 2 tablespoons of chopped cornichon. It's got that sort of nice vinegary thing going. Instead of pickles, I think cornichon are really nice. So just big rough chop. This is not like a fancy French dish that needs a perfect chop. And now, because I also like the sour part of it, a little bit of lemon, 2 tablespoons of freshly squeezed lemon juice. I'm gonna do it through the strainer so we don't get seeds in it. There's something about fish and lemon that goes together. Why not in tuna salad? Okay, now I need a few things to make it moist. So I'm gonna use 2 tablespoons of the oil that the tuna came in, because that's got great flavor, but I don't want all of it. 2 tablespoons of mayonnaise, just enough to bind it. 1 teaspoon of mustard. I use Dijon mustard. 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Make sure it has great flavor. 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. Just gonna mix that all together. Now the secret to really good tuna is the flavors really develop if you let them sit for a little while in the fridge. They sort of blend together. Okay, into the fridge. Like tuna, the hummus actually is much better when it sits in the fridge for a while. Flavors really develop. You can buy hummus, but it's so much better when you make it yourself. Drain 2 cups of canned chickpeas and reserve the liquid. Then put the chickpeas into the bowl of a food processor fitted with a steel blade and add 2 tablespoons of the reserved liquid. Add 1/3 cup of tahini, which is a paste made from ground sesame seeds. It's delicious and nutty. Add 4 cloves of minced garlic and 6 tablespoons of freshly squeezed lemon juice. That's going to be about 3 lemons. Now for a real kick, 8 dashes of Tabasco sauce, or as much as you can stand, and 2 teaspoons of kosher salt. Process the hummus until it's moist and thick and coarsely pureed. And that's it. Okay, a couple of hours in the fridge, and I'm ready to make sandwiches.
Making my pasta salad with tomatoes, cucumbers, and grilled green onion, crushed olive vinaigrette.
Ooh.
Wowie.
Into this very generously salted pot of generously salted water, I have put my, what is this, Jeff? Can you name that pasta?
Fusilli.
Fusilli, and I love this because this grabs. You need grabbing pasta.
I like fusilli for a pasta salad.
So I'm gonna take these grilled, I have some beautiful grilled scallions, nice and charred. We've been doing this all spring. I love this, really, it's really fantastic. our pasta's in, that's where the magic happens. This water has to be very salted like the sea because we are not using this water. If you were making a sauce in the pan, you would make it salty as broth. So when you added it, it wouldn't get too salty. So in this case, we're gonna fully cook it to a real al dente, but really salty, okay? Then we're gonna make a vinaigrette. That's our flavoring agent, a vinaigrette. What do we have? We have mustard. What else do we have, Jeff? Olive oil. And vinegar, Chardonnay vinegar. I like Chardonnay vinegar. I like 50-50. I don't like 3-to-1. I'm always very vinegary. Like I believe both of you are very vinegary as well. Okay, pasta's cooking. I have all my mise en place here. I'm gonna chop up these beautiful scallions.
So good.
Oh. My gosh, hot, hot.
You can do it. We believe in you.
This is just olive oil, salt, and pepper. Very simple.
Oh my God.
Oh, heavens.
Let's taste this. I think it's gonna be fine. So this is what's gonna flavor the pasta plus everything else we're putting in. The pasta, strangely enough, doesn't need a lot of things for flavoring. A lot of dressings and mayo is too much dressing. It just overwhelms the pasta. I know you do. Okay, so we're gonna put all our stuff here. And then we're gonna wait for our pasta to cook because I want the pasta to really hit the vinaigrette and really soak up that vinaigrette. Because everything else is just gonna go along for the ride, all right?
Nice.
So what do we have here? We have some Kalamata olives, some fresh dill, some fresh Italian parsley, and some provolone, which is hard to leave alone, especially when it's cut up. Some red onions, and some tomatoes that I've lightly salted, and some arugula. That's the ingredient.
Provolone.
Provolone.
Mystery little addition there.
Jeff, you love provolone.
I love it. Shoot me.
Very good, excellent.
Provolone Express, next up, my mouth.
Jeffrey, I love that you're making this room temp. I love that you're dropping hot pasta into a vinaigrette so it absorbs everything. But I just love that cold elbow macaroni salad with mayo
That's in the
out of
deli
the fridge.
case, right? It's in the deli case.
From a deli guy, I am not a fan of deli-style mac salad or any type of pasta salad. I like this. This is how I make my pasta salads.
Revelation.
I'm with you.
Revelation.
Katie, help me.
I'm with you.
We're good.
Here we go. We don't drain it. Just do the whole,
Okay.
they call this the lazy method.
Sammy the spider. Look at him go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
another
if you
thing
don't
that I
have
like
one of those spiders,
My
get
pasta
one.
salads are like 1/3 pasta, 2/3 salads. I don't like a lot of pasta ratio. A lot of people put a lot of pasta, just a little stuff.
Another thing
That's
I
all the
agree with
pasta.
you on, Jeff. What is
I'm
going
with you on that, Geoffrey, because I like a lot of
Yeah.
stuff.
Olives, parsley, dill, provolone. Yeah, that's for you.
Thank you. Just put it in my provolone zone.
I guess since we don't agree with him on everything, we don't get any cheese.
Onions.
You guys,
Tomato.
you didn't play it right.
Okay, and a lot of pepper. You gotta have pepper. Pepper wakes everything up, especially pasta salad. And Alex is determining what this tastes like. Last thing, arugula.
You're right. I really am. I'm doing a little math equation in my head. It looks great. I can smell it from here, too.
So
'cause it's
the
hot.
pasta is gonna suck up all that. The warmth is gonna slightly wilt the arugula, but I'm gonna put some fresh on top so you have fresh and cooked. And that's the key, to me, to a real pasta salad that you will go back to every time. And it actually, all this mixing will put it to a temperature that's really ambient, so you'll be able to eat it. There has to be a balance between the green and the vinaigrette, and the pasta just is there to like beef everything up. Are you ready? We're gonna give it a TV shot.
I have to say, this is beautiful and fresh looking.
Why do you want mayo? Your pasta salad will not look like this if you put mayo in it.
You know what I'd like to do? I'd like to eat a bowl of macaroni salad with the mayo while looking at this. I would be really happy.
Why can't you just have both, you know?
You can have both. But I recommend this for an outside picnic or an outside al fresco dining.
Well, here's the benefit of the no mayo with a salad like this. If you are traveling and you can't keep it cold, this will not go bad.
That's what ice is for, Katie. But all right.
That's true, though.
It's so
A little safer in the hot summer heat, too.
so delicious.
That's gorgeous, Geoffrey. I'm just busting your
The
chops.
arugula and the olive. It's like it's almost like a niçoise salad, but that arugula really just jazzes it all up.
I can smell the dill from here, which I love with the idea of the salty cheese.
So delicious.
I decided I'm going to make Robin John one of my all-time favorite soups, lentil vegetable soup. It's a really rich, hearty soup with lots of chunky vegetables. And it's gonna be fantastic with the grilled tuna rolls. So the first thing you need is 4 cups of chopped onions. That's about 3 large onions. Okay, next thing is leeks. So onions and leeks are milder than onions. So leeks, I take the green part off at an angle like this. But the key thing about leeks is they have a lot of sand in them. So you want to make sure you clean them really well. No point in making good soup if you've got sand in it. Okay, that's nice and clean. This is where a big knife comes in really handy. Just line them all up and just give them a nice chop. Some medium dice. Okay, that should be about 4 cups of leeks, right into the pot. Next thing is garlic. 3 cloves of garlic, just roughly chopped. Okay, that's about 1 tablespoon of garlic, right into the pot. Now lots of seasonings. 1 tablespoon of salt. I use kosher salt. Half a tablespoon, which is 1½ teaspoons of pepper. And lots of flavor with fresh thyme, about a tablespoon. Just run your finger down the stem, then the leaves come off. They're tiny, so there's really no need to chop them. Love the smell of fresh thyme, but it's strong. Just about a tablespoon. I'm gonna add a teaspoon of cumin. Cumin's used in a lot of ethnic cooking, Middle Eastern, Indian. It's not something I use often, but in the lentil soup, it really sort of brings out that earthy flavor of the lentils, which is great. Give it a big stir, and just cook that over medium heat for about 20 minutes until the leeks and the onions are just beautiful and tender and not browned. It's gonna make one big pot of soup. Next is lentils. Can't make lentil soup without lentils. I like to use the French green lentils. You can find them in specialty food stores. I just think they have better texture. So I need 2 cups of lentils. Just cover them with boiling water and let them soak for about 15 minutes. And then they'll cook faster in the soup. Okay, everything into the pot. 3 cups of carrots. 3 cups of celery. This is one big chunky pot of soup. I'm just gonna cook that at medium heat for about 10 minutes until the vegetables start to become tender. 3 quarts of chicken stock. This makes a lot of soup. If you want to make this vegetarian, you can always use vegetable stock, but I really like the depth of flavor that comes from chicken stock. 1/4 cup of tomato paste. I actually love these tubes. It's a great way to store it in the fridge, what's left over. Just squeeze it in, give it a big stir, and mix the lentils. Just gonna drain the lentils. They're softened now from being in the boiling water. And they're gonna go right in. French lentils are really firmer than regular lentils, just have a much better flavor and better texture. This is really the most flavorful lentil soup. The guys are gonna love it. Bring it to a boil and then lower the heat and simmer it for about an hour, uncovered, so it gets really thick and absolutely delicious. This is actually quite a lunch. The soup looks fantastic. Everything, all the lentils and the vegetables. But I'm gonna do one thing that's gonna really make a huge difference. I'm gonna add a little bit of red wine vinegar. You can add red wine too, but I like the vinegary bite. Sort of, lentils can be very bland, and there's something about an edge from vinegar. Just about 2 tablespoons. And add it slowly because you can overdo it really fast. Doesn't seem like a lot in a big pot, but it makes a huge difference. There's something about that edge that I like. Perfect. Not a drop more. Oh, this is so good.
Let's make our Parmesan croutons for the wrap. Now we're gonna make these small enough, very bite-sized, so when we wrap it with the chicken and the lettuce and the dressing, each bite will have a little bit of crunch in there, and that comes from these croutons. So I'm using a day-old baguette here. Perfect for crouton making. Right into a sheet pan here. Shake it, even it out. Stream some olive oil in there. You can do the thumb deal, because we are keeping it light. I don't want to put too much on here. Some grated Parmesan cheese, making it rain like a Tuscan sun shower. Salt and pepper to taste, just a little bit. All right, these go in the oven at 375 for about 15 minutes till they're golden brown. So these are gonna go great in our chicken Caesar wrap, which I have my chicken right here. It has been marinating all night in olive oil, lemon juice, lemon zest, and just garlic, keeping it healthy and lean. We got my grill pan nice and hot. Want to develop some color on that, but make sure it cooks all the way through. It's already smelling great in here. We didn't use any salt or pepper in our marinade, so now we can season the exterior directly. And these will go about 12 minutes aside so there's no more pink in the center, or at about 165, 170 on your instant read thermometer. Let's make the sour cream Caesar dressing. All right, so let's start with a cup of low-fat sour cream. Next, a tablespoon of Dijon mustard for that extra special tang. Another must ingredient to have in any Caesar is Parmesan. So we'll do about 2 tablespoons of this, 2 teaspoons of Worcestershire. Right, gives that nice meaty quality to your Caesar. I love me some Worcestershire. Let's do 1 whole garlic clove, zested right in there. The juice from a half a lemon. All right, did you hear that? It's starting to change noise. That means it's time to do fancy turns. There we go. Perfect, see? One last ingredient to my sour cream Caesar is an anchovy. Don't be scared. When I put this anchovy in there, you're not gonna really taste fishiness. You're not gonna taste the anchovy. But if I didn't put it in there, you'll definitely taste that something is missing in the Caesar. So we're just gonna mash it with the fork, put it right in there. We can get all this incorporated. Now that's perfect. That's what I'm talking about, see? Still dripping juice, we weren't prodding it. Now we can flip it. Oh yeah. All right, our grilled chicken has a chance to rest. Slice it nice and thin. Look at that, perfectly cooked, juicy. Very good. Oh man, smoky, lemony, little garlicky. Let's use romaine, it's the obvious choice for any good Caesar. We cut ours a little smaller here, bite-sized pieces. Some quartered cherry tomatoes. Don't forget our croutons. And of course, our homemade sour cream Caesar. Nice and light, but very, very flavorful. Now, Caesar salad is like the one wrap I like to combine all the ingredients first and then put it in the wrap just to make sure every crouton, every piece of chicken, every tomato, every little shred of lettuce has a bit of love from that sour cream Caesar on it. I like the element of fresh, sun-dried tomato tortillas combined with the Caesar, plus the beautiful color. It's like a full moon, and I'm changing into a werewolf. There we go. Now we can take our tossed salad, put it right in the middle, make sure we get some croutons, some tomatoes, evenly spread across. Don't overstuff this, and if this is your first time doing a wrap, start small, all right? Get the mechanics of wrapping a sandwich. Sides go in first. Then we do the double thumb turnover toppage method. Now this is the tricky part. You wanna keep it tight, and then with your little pinky fingers, kind of get those in there, you see? Tightly roll, and leave right there. That's a wrap. There's nothing heavy in it. The chicken's very tender, and I taste the lemon and the Parmesan, even that little bit of anchovy in our sour cream Caesar.
When I think of Greek food, I always think it's casual, it's fresh, it's outdoors. It's gonna be really nice. My friends, the Greenwalds, know I'm bringing dinner. They don't know what I'm bringing, so I'm gonna surprise them. So I've got Greek lamb with tzatziki. I thought, Greek salad. This I can make in my sleep. So first the vinaigrette. Half a cup of olive oil. That should be about right. 1/4 cup of red wine vinegar. I always like to use a good red wine vinegar. Just smell it. You'll know if it's good. Half a teaspoon of good Dijon mustard. 1 teaspoon of oregano. You know, usually I use fresh herbs, but in the case of oregano, I think it's really strong. So what I do is I take dried oregano and then just crush it between my hands, and it really releases the oils in it. It's one of the few herbs I think is actually too strong fresh. Oregano, teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of pepper, and of course garlic. I've got 2 cloves of garlic, minced. Just whisk it all together. Okay, that's good. Next, the vegetables. First thing is 1 hothouse cucumber, then just cut the cucumber in big, thick slices. Next, 1 red pepper, large diced, and 1 yellow pepper, large diced. I think they taste so much better than green peppers. Okay, next, tomatoes. I'm just gonna cut each tomato in half and just toss it right in. In Greece, they usually chop large tomatoes into chunks, but I like to use a box of really good cherry tomatoes. Just cut them in half. They're so sweet and intensely flavorful. Okay, that's the tomatoes. Next is red onion. I actually use red onion because I think it's a little sweeter than yellow onion. Half a cup of Kalamata olives. They're Greek olives, and of course, a Greek salad demands Greek olives. They're already pitted. And next, the vinaigrette. Just toss it all together. Just pour on enough so that the whole salad is moistened. That's about the whole thing. That should be it. Just give it a big toss. All these gorgeous vegetables. It's going to taste so good. And the last thing I'm going to put in is feta. Obviously, classic Greek ingredient, but I don't want to mix it too much because then it'll get crumbled. So I'm going to do big chunks of feta. For salad like this, I like to try and cut all the pieces in about the same sizes. I just think it gives it a really nice look. So it's about 2 cups of feta. It doesn't get any more delicious, and it's great for a big party. That's the Greek salad done.